Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the unit testing. So basically I am Mr. Heman Shinde. So today, hello everyone. I am Mr. Heman Shinde. We are going to discuss about the JUnit testing. So unit testing of a software application is done during the coding of an application. So the objective of this unit testing is to isolate the section of code and verify its correctness. Unit testing may be individual function or the procedure. So the goal of unit testing is to isolate each part of the program and show that the individual parts are correct. Unit testing is usually performed by the developer during the coding itself. So JUnit, in order to perform the unit testing, Java provides the framework, that is open source framework for the unit testing, and that framework is the JUnit testing. So how to do that particular unit testing, JUnit testing? So for that purpose, we are going to discuss that with the help of a Eclipse. So on the screen, there is one project. I have opened Eclipse editor. So what we have to do generally, go to the file, then new Java project. So when you click on the new, so you have to specify the name for that particular, whatever the project that you want to create. You have to specify the name and click on finish. Now here I have already created one project named as a JUnit demo. So under this particular JUnit demo, what you have to do, you have to create the package. So src folder is there. So inside that src, what we have to do, we have to create new package. Now I have already created one package called as programming hub. It is shown over here. See here, programming hub. So what we have to do generally, so right click to that particular package and click on new class. Now here, what we have to do, we have to specify the name of the class. Now I have created one class called as JUnit class. So this particular, so public class JUnit class. So in this class, I had written the two functions or the methods, that is add and the subtract. So and the return type of this both the function methods is integer, and they are taking the two arguments, both are of type integer strings. So what we have done here, these are the two functions add and sub. We are going to write the test cases for these two functions separately, as well as we are going to generate the test suite, so that all these two test cases, instead of executing it separately, we can execute these two test cases at the same time. Now here, this is the way, when we pass the argument, this particular function add and the subtract, it takes the two argument of type integer strings, and what we have to do, we need to parse that particular strings, number equivalent strings, into the integer, and then we are going to return that particular what would be the addition. So how to write down the test cases for these two particular functions? So for that purpose, what you have to do, you have to right click on the that particular class, then go to new, and so see here there is one unit test case. So here you need to specify the name of the class. Now the name of the class that we are going to specify over here is add test, and click on finish. Click on next. Then what it will do, we will write this particular test case for this add. Similarly for subtract, so what you have to do, create JUnit test and here specify the name, and when you click over here, here you have to specify these functions, that is add and the subtract. So we have already done this. So I will delete this particular code because it is unnecessarily created. Okay, so we have, now what we have to do, we have to write down the test cases. Now these are the, we can say, individual test cases that we had written. So inside this particular test cases, what we have to do, this is the annotations that are used. So it specifies that this is our test, we are going to do this particular functionality testing, or the we are going to do the unit testing for this particular add function. So test add. So here we have created the object of JUnit class, JUnit class, and we are calling the add function. Now here we are passing the type two arguments as a part of a strings, and in that particular add function we have converted this particular strings argument into the equivalent integers, and then we are performing. And what we are doing here, assert equal, this functions is going to verify whether whatever the result that is generated is equal to actual or not. Now here when we do 5 plus 10, it is going to give me the result as 15, and our actual result is also 15. So here this test case must get pass. Similarly for the subtract test cases, so here we are passing the two arguments as a 15 and the 10 as a string arguments. We are converting that equivalent to the their integer values, and 15 minus 10, the result is going to be 5, and the actual result is 5, and expected result is also 5. So when we will execute this particular, so right click on that particular class, that is add test, and run as a JUnit test. So see here, runs one test here. This is a green. This progress bar get displayed, which indicate that we have executed one test, and out of that one test is executed successfully. 0 errors, failures are 0. Now for example, if I change over here, instead of this 15, if I write down here as a 10, and if I try to run the same test case again, then in that case it will show me the output as fail. See here, so here we have executed one test case and failure is 1. Why? Because we have changed this particular result. Now similarly we can execute the second test case. So you can write as many test cases that you want in a single, we can say, the same program. So now instead of executing these test cases individually, what we can do, we can write down the test case suite. So for simplicity we have only considered these two test cases, so we can execute it, we can say, one by one. But in the real program there are, we can say, we may have the 30-40 test cases, unit test cases for that number of functions. So it is very hectic to execute each test case individually. So instead of that, what we have to do, we have to create a test suitcase. And how to create a test suitcase? So for that purpose, right click on a class, then new, and here there is option called as other. So when we click on other, so see here there is JUnit test case and JUnit test suite. So we have to select this JUnit test suite, and we have to select this particular check, how many test cases that you want to add to this particular test suite. So we are only having the two test cases, so we have added these two test cases. Now see here, instead of executing each test case separately, what we will do, rather we can run the test case suite. Now see here, we have executed the two test cases and both are, we can say, executed successfully. Now second thing is that if I change, so instead of this 15, these are the string argument. If I pass over as a ABC, then see here what will happen when we try to execute this particular test case. Now see what would be the problem that we will face is that, see here, we have executed the two test cases. Out of the error is one, we are having error. Now what basically that error is, we are passing for this particular subtract method, we are passing the strings as an argument and we are trying to convert that into the integer. But ABC, it is a, we can say, the character string which we cannot convert into the equivalent integer value, whereas 10, though it is a string, we can convert its equivalent. So for that purpose, in order to pass such case, what we have to do, we have to write down here at the test annotations, we have to write down expected is equal to number format exception dot class. So, and again what we will do, we will execute these two test cases. Now see here what will be the output. See, both the test cases get passed successfully. So if the user is novice, so he may enter, instead of the numerical strings, he may enter any character strings. So as a software tester, we need to handle such kind of a test cases. So for that purpose, we have to write down expected is equal to number format exception. So in this way, what we can do, we can write n number of test cases. Whatever the test cases that we need to write, we have to write down, and we can combine, or we can what we can say, we can execute at once we can execute all the test cases with the help of this test case suite. So this is all about, we can say, so we will just have a recap what we have done. So very first what we have to do, we have to create a mini project, go to the file, then Java project. After that we have to write down the class, and inside that particular class we can write down adds functions. So see, this is in this JUnit we had write down the functions, so you can write as many functions as you want, and we can write down the test cases for this particular corresponding every, we can say, the methods. So how to write the test case for each individual function? So right click on that particular class, go to the new, then JUnit test case. So here, see here you can specify the name, and when you click on next, so there will be the check boxes. See here, the check how many methods you had written, that particular functions will be visible to you. Then you have to select one for which function you are writing the test case. So you have to select that particular function, click on finish. Similarly you have to do for the rest of all the functions. And lastly what we can do, we can write down the test case suite. So for that purpose what we have to do, right click on the class, then go to the new, then other, and JUnit test suite. Next, so here what it will do, it will have the all whatever the test cases that you had written in your program, all will be visible, and you have to select the check boxes of that particular and click on finish, so that at a glance or at a single click you can execute all the test cases. So in this, we can say, the small tutorial what we had discussed, we have discussed about the JUnit test case, how to do the unit testing with the help of JUnit framework, which is provided by Java. So thank you all of you.